Picture this. It is the dead of night, the early hours of Sunday morning. The skies over Tehran are pitch black, quiet with the uneasy silence that has gripped the Middle East for decades. Suddenly, the horizon tears open. A devastating, highly coordinated barrage of United States and Israeli military precision strikes pierces the Iranian airspace. The earth shakes, sirens wail, and in an instant, the unthinkable becomes absolute, undeniable reality. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, the architect of a decades-long theocratic stronghold, and the most heavily guarded man in the region, has been eliminated. Welcome to a geopolitical earthquake of unprecedented magnitude. We are no longer dealing with warnings, red lines, or proxy skirmishes. We have just witnessed a decapitation strike that has completely fractured the modern Middle East. But what is truly sending shockwaves across the globe right now isn't just the sheer tactical audacity of the U.S. and Israeli militaries. It is the chilling, deeply ironic scene unfolding on the ground in Iran. Imagine foreign stealth bombers and munitions raining down on your capital. Logic dictates that the population would cower in bunkers, paralyzed by the terror of a foreign invasion. But that is not what is happening. Before the smoke even cleared on Sunday, the streets of Tehran ignited, not with anti-Western riots, but with fireworks. Unadulterated, ecstatic jubilation. Citizens were literally dancing in the dark, treating the darkest hour of their authoritarian regime as a long-awaited national holiday. It is a profound, surreal paradox. A people so utterly alienated from their rulers that they are cheering on the destruction of their own capital's military infrastructure. But do not let the fireworks fool you. This is a nation violently torn in two. Right on the heels of the celebrations, the counter-reality emerged. Swarms of loyalists, openly weeping and gripped by an existential panic, flooded Enghelab Square, clutching Iranian flags and hoisting portraits of their fallen leader. The heavily armed Revolutionary Guard and the feared Basij militia, the regime's iron-fisted enforcers, are wandering the streets, stunned and paralyzed without operational direction. Two completely different Irans are colliding in real time, and the friction between them threatens to spark a catastrophe. The stakes have never been higher. Are we watching the dawn of a new Iranian republic, or the bloody prologue to a devastating civil war? Before we break down the frontline reporting and unravel exactly how this monumental shift will reshape the globe, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let me know your immediate reaction in the comments below. The algorithm needs to know that real, hard-hitting geopolitical analysis matters. You will want to stick around for this one, because the reality of the streets is far darker and far more complex than the headlines suggest. Let's dive in. Welcome to an unprecedented geopolitical earthquake. The unthinkable has actually happened, and Iran is currently waking up to a completely fractured reality. Based on the frontline reporting of Christina Goldbaum and Kiana Hayeri, we are breaking down a monumental shift in the Middle East. The supreme leader is gone. We are witnessing absolute shockwaves radiating out of Tehran today. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been eliminated in a massive, coordinated barrage of United States and Israeli military strikes. And the reaction on the ground? It is a startling tale of two deeply divided nations. Before the dust could even settle early Sunday, massive crowds flooded the streets, not in anger, but in sheer, unadulterated jubilation. We're talking fireworks. We're talking dancing in the dark, a regime's darkest hour treated like a national holiday. Yet, right on their heels, the counter-reaction emerged. Swarms of loyalists, openly weeping, marched through the capital, gripping Iranian flags and hoisting portraits of their fallen leader. Fast forward to midday, and the skies over the capital split open once again. More airstrikes, more devastation. But what followed the deafening roar of incoming munitions wasn't panic. It was applause. Citizens were literally cheering the bombardment of their own city, praying these payloads are the final nails in the government's coffin. Let that sink in for a moment. One local from Karaj, a 39-year-old we'll call Azim, to protect him from the state's notoriously brutal reprisal network, described the atmosphere with one chilling word: surreal. Imagine foreign powers bombing your homeland, Azim explained, and the public is so profoundly alienated from their rulers that they celebrate the destruction. After partying until sunrise, Azim took a drive through the chaotic streets. What he witnessed at the state security checkpoints is perhaps the most telling detail of this entire crisis. The supposedly invincible Revolutionary Guard, the iron-fisted Basij militia, they were paralyzed, stunned. Azim even spoke to a militiaman who openly admitted he was completely lost, lacking any operational direction. The regime's enforcers were genuinely dumbfounded that the very first wave of missiles managed to take out the most heavily protected man in the country. Of course, the state apparatus is desperate to project control. By late morning, images flooded out of the judiciary's official press wing showing throngs of regime supporters packing into Tehran's Enghelab Square, crying out in grief and clinging to the memory of the Ayatollah. But underneath the grief and the celebrations, there is a suffocating layer of raw, unfiltered anxiety. Take Peyman, a 45-year-old Tehran resident who is rapidly bracing for a catastrophic societal collapse. He's hoarding water. He's stockpiling bread. He's watching his entire life savings teeter on the edge of an inevitable stock market freefall. Every blast shakes him to his core. As he puts it, the entire nation is navigating totally uncharted, terrifying waters. Peyman doesn't believe the current power structure can survive this outright rejection by its people. But here is the critical twist: the pragmatic reality of the street. If the crumbling regime somehow manages to secure a deal with Washington, lifts the crushing economic sanctions, and gets the bombs to stop falling, Peyman suspects the revolutionary fire might just burn out. People just want their basic needs met. Survival often trumps revolution. That cold pragmatism is echoed by 32-year-old Aryan. Navigating through the capital, searching for fuel, he filmed massive pillars of black smoke choking the sky, footage independently verified by the New York Times. Aryan recognizes the joy in the streets, but he is painfully skeptical that the dancing translates to structural change. His nightmare scenario? Washington and Jerusalem issue a direct call for a civilian uprising. Why? Because the opposition has the willpower, but they completely lack the tactical strength and organizational capacity to topple a cornered state apparatus. A premature uprising wouldn't mean freedom. It would just mean a bloodbath. The desire for a new dawn is absolutely fierce, but desire alone doesn't win wars. If you want to stay ahead of this historic, explosive situation as it develops, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and keep it locked right here. The smoke over Tehran will eventually clear. But the Middle East we knew on Saturday no longer exists. The elimination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has violently ripped the lid off a pressure cooker that has been building for decades. What we are witnessing is the profound fragility of authoritarianism. A regime that ruled through absolute fear now finds its own enforcers paralyzed by that exact same emotion. However, we must strip away the romanticism of revolution and look at the cold, strategic reality. The fireworks and the cheering in the streets represent a fierce desire for a new dawn. But desire alone does not topple a deeply entrenched, multi-billion-dollar military theocratic complex. As we heard from citizens like Peyman and Aryan, the most dangerous element on the ground right now isn't foreign missiles. It is the impending power vacuum. We are currently staring down three distinct, highly volatile future scenarios. First, the survival pivot. The surviving state apparatus, desperate and cornered, could strike an 11th-hour deal with Washington, trading their geopolitical ambitions for an end to airstrikes and the lifting of economic sanctions. If the breadlines disappear and the bombs stop, the revolutionary fire on the streets might just quietly burn out in favor of basic survival. Pragmatism often defeats ideology. The second scenario is the nightmare. Washington and Jerusalem misread the room and issue a direct call for a civilian uprising. Without tactical strength, heavy weaponry, or unified leadership, an opposition movement charging the still heavily armed Revolutionary Guard wouldn't be a revolution, it would be a massacre. The regime, fighting for its literal life, would stop at nothing to reassert control. The third scenario is total institutional collapse. The central command of the Islamic Republic fragments, the military turns on itself, and Iran descends into a prolonged civil war, sending immediate, catastrophic shockwaves through its proxy networks in Lebanon, Yemen, and Gaza. The entire axis of resistance would be cut off from its head, fundamentally reshaping global security for the next century. The narrative closure here is that there is no closure, yet. We are navigating totally uncharted, terrifying waters. The duality of this moment, the dancing and the despair, is a delicate, explosive balance, and a single misstep by either the regime, the citizens, or foreign powers will dictate the fate of millions. Now I turn it over to you. How do you see this unprecedented crisis playing out? Will the regime crumble under the weight of its own paralyzed enforcers? Or will they survive by striking a desperate deal with the West? Drop your predictions and your analysis in the comment section below. I read every single one. If you found this breakdown valuable, you have to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video with anyone who needs to understand the truth behind the headlines. History is moving fast, and we will be here to track every single development. Stay safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one.